shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
From August 31st until October 5th, I was engaged in my Camino, a pilgrimage along the northern part of Spain. Began in the south of France and ended at the end of the earth, Finisterre. Now, there was nothing very complicated about that journey. Each day I got up and I put one foot in front of the other, and along I went. Several days into that journey, I had a joke I would tell myself, and as I got up in the morning and got ready to go, I would say to myself, I think I'll go for a walk today. And I did, every day for 36 days. Walking, following arrows, was not complicated, as I said, but it certainly wasn't easy either. And come about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I would go about the business of trying to find an albergue. When I say albergue to you, please think about a dorm. Usually one great big room with as many bunk beds as they could possibly squish into that one great big room. There would be a bathroom or two down the hall and perhaps a sink to wash clothes. I, early in the afternoon, would go about the business of finding an albergue. Now, of course, walking 6, 7, 8 hours a day is really quite enough, but the bigger reason that I needed to go about finding an albergue early in the afternoon was if I waited too long, I wasn't going to find a room in an albergue. So I would plan the day and I would plan my stops, and then I would start looking. Now, oftentimes when an albergue was already full, there would be a sign out front that would say completo, but sometimes you would go in and they would send you away anyway. It was full. Thinking back on it, I'm kind of amazed how often when I showed up at my usual time of 2 or 3, I would get either the last bed or the next to last bed in an albergue. Now, I have to tell you, when I got bed 27 of bed 28, or if I got bed 28 of 28, I felt like it was good news, and there needed to be great rejoicing. I was going to have a bed for the night, I was going to get a shower, and I was going to be able to rinse at least some of the filth out of my clothing. But what was good news of great joy for me wasn't good news or great joy for number 29 or 31 or 75 or 114. On this night, we have been invited into this place to remember this incredible event in a manger in a cave. And in this great event, all sorts of people are invited in. A carpenter, a young, unmarried woman, shepherds, outcasts in their society, and us. And this night, as we gather, remembering the manger and the cave, as we gather, we are given the most incredible present ever. Better than any present we're going to open up tonight or in the morning or ever, because the present that we are given in this event will not fade, and it will not become outdated, and there's not going to be a new model next year that's going to be even bigger and better. The present that we are invited into is good news of great joy for all people. Not just the first 28. And not just the people who can figure out how to get there and follow the arrows. And not just the people who follow directions or belong to the right church or the right denomination or the right belief system. The present is good news of great joy for all people. So what is that good news of great joy? The Savior has come. Now, I tell you, when I arrived at an albergue and I knew I was going to have a bed and a shower and a place to rinse out my clothing, there was great rejoicing. But the reality was, within 24 hours, I was going to need another bed, and long before that, a shower, and to rinse those clothes out. This gift, this present, this Savior isn't a Savior for the blink of an eye. It's not a Savior that's going to get us through for just the moment. The Savior and the gift and the redemption and the deliverance is for all time. No matter where our journey is taking us right now, whatever struggles, wherever that darkness is, we have a Savior that is bigger and more incredible than any of those dark journeys that we might be on. Good news of great joy for all people. And what makes it good news is it's about what God has done. It's not about us getting it figured out. It's not about us figuring out the formula. It's about a God who is so intent upon loving us that this God will take on flesh and come into our world to find us. Good news of great joy for all people. There's so many wonderful parts of the story, but one of the parts of the story that has just really sat with me this week is this whole turnabout. They end up in a cave because there's no room at the inn. The albergue is full. It's completo. And yet God's plan is never full. God's plan has room for everybody. And yet, even as God has that great, big, huge, universal plan, this God of ours also comes to each one of us individually, desiring to have a relationship with us, desiring to enter into our lives. So on this night, as we gather, as we remember the story, I also encourage you to think about your own in, your own within. How have you received and welcomed the Savior within your own life? We gather. We gather at the manger. We look into the face of the baby, and we are reminded that that is the Savior of us all. Merry Christmas.
Well, this light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. I'm gonna let it shine.